Hi guys, how you doing? It's June 14th and it is day 86 of our lockdown blog. So yeah, we're definitely going to get to 100, that's for sure. Yeah, today, as I mentioned yesterday, we have been canoeing. So I am very tired, but actually I think I've, for the moment, fared better than you have.
Well,
I immediately got in the boat. Also, you might notice, the eagle-eyed among you, I'm a little bit sunburned.
I've got a little bit of sunburn up there as
Yeah,
well.
we're a bit flushed. It was very sort of grey and sort of dull, and we took sun cream with us, but obviously because you're on the water, you put all your stuff in like these
A big waterproof
waterproof
barrel.
barrel, but they're not very easy to like open and get stuff out. So we thought, oh well, we'll wait till we can. It got like it was mainly grey, but then when it started to get a bit sunny,
It was
we thought, oh, we'll pull
beautiful.
to the side and get some sun cream out. But I think that window, because you're on the water as well, I think it all
Yeah,
reflects as
there
well,
was
and it's a
some
bit.
beautiful kind of skies, but they were like sort of cloudy for the most part, and kind of a little bit of wind, little bit of
You get little sunny
spatterings
windows.
of rain, and so by the time you realise,
Oh,
oh, actually,
actually, we've had a
the
bit of
the
sun.
sun comes on so quickly, and you go, do you know what? I probably should put some sun cream on, but you think we'll wait till the next time we stop
Yeah,
and pull in at a
missed the
bank,
window.
and then we'll get the sun cream out and put it on, and we sort of put it on just in time for the weather to turn
Yeah.
a little bit grey again. So we kind
Uh,
of damage was already done, wasn't it? Really,
but yeah, I have to say though, what a lovely day.
mm,
A real respite from reality.
hmm
Well, I guess not reality because obviously it's reality, but away from the news, away from social media, somewhere beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. There were like long stretches where you literally don't see any signs of people. The odd house, maybe the odd road or bridge, but it's just beautiful. And just woodland on either side, and the river was just gorgeous.
mm.
So yeah, although it was quite physical, which I will pay the price for. I think it's a good thing to like. I wouldn't be able to do it regularly because of how much aftermath I'll have. But I think it is good to occasionally do something a bit too much because it reminds me that my body is capable of doing these things. I just have to be careful about how much and how often. And it is really satisfying to sort of have that sense of right, I've worked physically hard, but yeah, it's just a real son of a bitch that I'm going to be sort of really reluctant to use the stairs in my house for the next few days, and probably not be able to lift my arms up above here because of all the like whoosh. But that'll all set in. Hopefully, I'll get away with it not being too bad tomorrow, and then Tuesday will probably be the worst, and then Wednesday will probably be about as bad as tomorrow was, which is actually in itself brilliant. Because when I was first fibro-y, a bad spell would be weeks, and now it's down to sort of days, which is brilliant because you can actually have a bit of a life if you're careful.
Mm.
But yeah, so overall, like, so lovely to just be away from all of it. Like it's all still going on, but what, like, and you've still got to be sort of social distancing when you pick up the boats and all that sort of stuff. But once you're on the river,
Mm.
it's just you guys, and
And
you can forget about it.
you're in this boat. You obviously don't. There's occasionally another boat will pass,
You
but
don't go
you
close
don't
enough that you'd
want to
have to think about it.
What at the best of times, even if none of this global situation was happening, you wouldn't want to get that close to another boat because you don't want to clunk into
Yeah,
anyone or splash people. So, that
yeah,
social
kind of
distancing
perfect for
happens
that.
naturally, and you don't
Yeah.
have to think about it as like part of a thing to be aware of and careful about.
So yeah, the only thing that
And
would be different normally is normally round about halfway down the river, there's a place that people stop and have a pub lunch.
mm,
So we just had a picnic on the side of the river, but that did mean a little bit of peeing in bushes needed
it
to
did,
happen.
sure.
But it's part of nature. It's fine.
I
It's fine.
well,
That is.
it's. I mean, we talked. Yes, you didn't want to talk yesterday, but I talked about my slight concerns about just my digestive system being not used to kind of having to kind of go out and do things and
Got
just
away with it, guys. It was
and
fine.
I was very relieved though to find that other people had similar concerns. I
Yeah.
wasn't the only one, and also just like on the river, like just holding in a wee till the next time we go for a stop, and just going, and it wasn't a problem, but literally just going, haven't had to hold in a wee
No,
since like
our
March.
bodies are out
You
of
just,
practice.
You just
It's like,
literally go, oh, I need a wee.
I'll go for a wee
I'll go
then.
for a wee. Like, there's no like going, I'll have to wait till I get to work, or and it just.
Or I better wait till I'm on break, or like, oh, I've got a
Yeah.
game that's just around. Because actually, that sometimes happens to me in work. Is you give people like start times to arrive, which is like 10 minutes before their game, but people inevitably don't listen to that. So quite often people will be late. But sometimes a group that has been late, so they start late, and you're like, oh, I can probably get away with it. I can do a quick reset, and hopefully. But then if you get a group that starts late, they'll finish late, and then the next group arrives early and you haven't had a chance to go for a wee, and then you know that you're in it for another hour minimum, and you're like, I already needed a wee. Yeah, I've had it before where literally the next group is arriving as the group's leaving, and I'm like, I haven't even reset the room yet. So although it's just like, okay guys, you're a bit early, I've got to reset the room, you can't really then leave and walk past them to go, because actually my loos aren't in the escape rooms, I've got to go out and around, so I can't really be like, hey guys, can you just wait here for a minute while I leave you unattended in my building. So it's just like, yeah, you just gotta hold it. But yeah, I haven't had to hold in a wee for months. Luxury.
Isn't it?
So it's weird the things you notice right now. It's so odd.
But it was really beautiful. It was like 13 miles of sort of uninterrupted scenic beauty, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
gorgeous.
And just the trees and the thing, and it's one of those things that I wouldn't have thought to book.
No.
Independently.
Well, I would never book that.
Wouldn't have occurred to me, but really enjoyed it. Really glad I went, and it's such a nice, refreshing break. As much as I've enjoyed like being at home and being here in the house and having the time off, and some of the things we've managed to do that we might not have otherwise done. It was really nice, and also having gone out and gone away and had this lovely day, and then come home and just enjoy coming home.
Yeah.
Which...
Well, we sort of, bless, I made arrangements for Lucy, the dog, to stay with my parents overnight last night, because although, like, she's pretty chill, she hasn't been left on her own for more than a couple of hours maximum this whole since March. So I just thought, well, we can't really go out because we'd had to leave at 8 this morning. We didn't get back till 6, which, to be honest, that would be I would normally, under normal circumstances though, my dad comes and walks her, so he would let himself in at around about 1, 2ish, pick her up and go and take her for a walk. So she would, although I might be in work all day from, like, say you were out from 9 till 6 and I was out, she wouldn't be left that long on her own anyway. But, like, even if we'd left her here and somebody could have come and picked her up if we'd left the back door open or something, like, I just felt like she couldn't really be left alone for that amount of time, because she'll be, like, confused and panicked. So coming home, I was like, and also, I don't think we've gone that long without seeing the cats.
No.
For all of this time. Well, we spent quite a lot of it in a room with a cat at all times. So that was a nice change. But yeah, it was like, oh, I wonder if they'll have missed us. And also missed being able to get whatever they want whenever they want it. Because we are absolute pushovers.
We were at their beck and call night and day, aren't we, normally?
Yep.
Particularly you,
Idiots.
I sometimes sleep through.
Yeah, well, Totem is especially, like, even if you are up and willing to do things for him, he will sit there and be like, no, I want her to do it.
Yeah. Do you want some food? Yes, but I want her to fetch it.
Yeah, literally. I'm like, I'm upstairs, Chris is downstairs. Just now, I'm like, I really am, like, it's not actually hitting too bad yet. I'm sore, but, like, manageable normal person sore at this stage. But I was just like, I don't want to take the stairs unnecessarily, so, like, Totem, go downstairs. So he just sits next to me. I'm in the bath, just meow, meow, meow. And then I get out of the bath eventually, because I did stay in the bath longer than I would have, and eventually he just sat next to the bath and sort of lay on the bath mat, sort of sulking. And I got up to, like, go and get dressed, and then meow, meow. I'm like, Chris, can you call Totem? And then Chris calls him, and he just literally just stares at me meowing for food. I'm like, oh, you dickhead. But he'll do it when I'm here at my desk doing work, and, like, he'll be meowing for food, and Chris can get up and go to feed him, put food in the bowl. Totem will look and watch him do it, and then carry on meowing at me, and then I just have to stand up, walk over, point at it, and then he goes, thank you, nom nom nom. You're like, you're a dickhead. So even if you are being as willing as you possibly could be, sometimes I get the raw end of the deal. Is that just a raw deal? With the kitties anyway. But yeah, they won't have had us here to nag.
And you're two, though, kind of were in the lounge and sort of came up and greeted you, didn't they? Which was nice. My two were nowhere to be seen.
We still haven't seen one of them, but he does do that for quite. I've noticed since the weather's been nice, he disappears for.
I want a greeting. I'm furious with them.
You're not furious with them. This is his furious face.
Why are you?
I didn't realise you were an American cartoon character.
One of these days, Arthur, straight to the moon. That's
straight to the moon.
That was Archie Bunker's catchphrase in an American sitcom. He's a character in like a sitcom in the 50s, and his catchphrase.
When you were growing up,
his wife was called Alice, and his catchphrase was like, "One of these days, Alice, straight to the moon," implying that he would hit her so hard that she would fly to the moon. Which was because hitting your wife was funny in the 1950s.
Yeah, funny joke that. Yes, I have seen clips of that with actually sort of examples of like this is how normalised sort of the man is in charge and he can threaten to beat his wife and it's funny.
Yeah.
Times have changed.
They have.
But in some ways,
we'll be looking at some fairly dated attitudes later in the vlog, I should imagine.
We're still doing a bit shit on quite a lot of things, but I guess making jokes about domestic violence is kind of not so commonplace.
No.
Maybe fewer people find that funny now.
Yeah.
And the ones who do find it funny maybe just joke about it behind closed doors with other dickheads.
But we got home and you had a bath.
Yeah, about 3 hours.
For about 3 hours. And during that
I topped it up with hot while I was in there because I was like, nope, not ready to get out yet.
And I thought, well, we got up quite early to go, and I thought, well, I'll sort of go to bed and just sort of take my book, and if I get sleepy, I'll have a bit of a doze and have a bit of a nap. I did not get any of my book
because I was in the bar, and sorry to sort of reveal your secrets, but Chris snores a bit. And it was like within moments of me hearing you pad up the stairs. I was like, is he snoring? Because it probably less than 3 minutes had passed from you walking up the stairs to you snoring, which is impressive.
I am reading 1602, which is the collected comics miniseries written by Neil Gaiman.
Ah, right. Okay.
Most famous in
still
comics.
Marvel stuff, though?
Still Marvel stuff. Most famous in comics for writing the Sandman for DC, but he also co-wrote with Terry Pratchett. What's the name of it?
Good Omens, which is one of my favourite books ever. I love Good Omens.
Now a kind of limited TV series, isn't it, on Amazon
with David Tennant, and I also love David Tennant and Michael Sheen. Brilliant.
Really good. So,
a very faithful, not absolutely accurate, but a very faithful and loving adaptation, I would say.
And 1602 is a miniseries. It has the Marvel comic superheroes, but if they were in Elizabethan England.
Oh, you did mention this. I didn't realise it was called 1602.
It's really good. It's entertaining. It's interesting. It's got a really nice kind of art style that kind of fits that kind of.
Sorry, I just had a shiver.
Elizabethan kind of vibe in a way, because it's sort of like hand painted looking art rather than.
Oh, nice.
And it's really good. But I did not read any. I took it to go and have a read of that and just fell immediately.
Just lying to yourself, weren't you? You were like, I'm going for a nap. But if I take my book with me, then it's an accidental nap.
Maybe but I wanted to read some of my book. The childish thing of I'm tired, but I want to play with my toy, and I want to read my book, and so I don't want to sleep. The book will still be there when you're less tired. I know, but you know.
It was an early start, and like that, it would be an early start anyway. But it was an early start considering. But like, I sleep really late, but you don't get up at the crack of dawn either.
And so I slept for like most of the time you were in the bath, and then I woke up as Lucy arrived.
You were so dopey as well. I could hear from upstairs because the doorbell went, and I had to shout to wake you up because you didn't wake up with the doorbell, and I was still in the bath. And then I just heard you sort of like, oh, hello. And then I could hear my mum's voice laughing. And then she went, are you tired? And he went, yeah. Oh, thank you. He sounded drunk.
I was so drunk. I've been awake now for about 20 minutes before we started filming this, I think. And I've been sort of piecing myself together.
Padding around looking confused.
Drinking lots of...
I think I'm faring better than you are.
Yeah, drinking lots of healthy, refreshing water. Bottled water to follow up the healthy, refreshing, cheap energy drink that I had. But I think it's one of those things. Once you go to sleep,
and
you know,
particularly if you're sleep deprived as well, so not just having a little top-up nap.
If you went to sleep for like a couple of hours and then had to wake up and do things, I think you'd probably be faring about as well.
No, I just mean the fact that you've sort of had to sleep, whereas I've stayed awake because I've been in the bath.
But I think that was a choice, though, wasn't it? Yeah. Like, if you hadn't had to have a bath, you probably also would have had a nap.
Yeah, I needed a bath.
I think but it's like,
yeah,
sometimes I could have powered through, but having made the decision to sleep, everything went, nope, shut down. And I'm sort of trying to gear back into life. But,
yeah, that's fine. It wasn't a criticism. I just find it funny.
No, I don't. I'm just trying to.
Because I think yesterday I warned everyone that I was going to be in a shocking state, and actually at the moment I am holding it together. I even drinking some wine because we opened a glass of wine to have on our little picnic.
Nice. Picnic.
So I had an open bottle of wine, so I thought I'll have another glass before I will be going to bed quite early. Well, early for me. I'll finish this, write up the blurb, get that uploading, and then probably head upstairs, dry my hair because it's still wet from the bath, and then maybe in bed listen to an audiobook, or just I probably won't go to sleep yet, but I think I'll probably be asleep before midnight, which is good for me.
Yeah, I chose to have a nap because the wrestling that I thought was happening last night is actually happening tonight, so I'm going to stay up and watch it. So I thought I should probably have some sort of nap, and then I'm going to make some lovely cheesy nachos to have in front of the
And you said you had preparation to do for tomorrow.
Why? What's tomorrow?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Today's Trump's birthday. You've missed it.
Oh, Trump's birthday's gone?
Yeah, it's
plans.
Today, so
still
going
plans.
on. Yeah, so if anyone believes in astrology, my birthday being a day after Trump's birthday, it doesn't fill me with warm fuzzies. Like, admit it, I think actually like proper astrology, they do take into account like year of birth, because obviously the stars are in...
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah, that's in proper astrology.
Well, no, people who take it seriously, I mean, so actually they would sort of say that, well, 2 different years would have totally different results in your personality. But yeah.
Proper like proper phrenology.
Is that the head feeling thing?
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, Donald Trump's birthday today. So I'm not going to say happy birthday to Donald Trump. I hope he has a terrible time. He's done some really shitty things of late. I haven't actually...
You'll feel really bad tomorrow when he sends you a nice card.
Oh God. I'd have to remonstrate with myself if I got a birthday card from Donald Trump. Like, you'd have to give you a solar wash. But yeah, so yeah, he's like, obviously he's been doing loads of terrible things. His handling of COVID has been ridiculous, but just while he's been not busy looking after his citizens in that way, he's also absolutely taken a massive piss all over transgender and LGBTQ people by undoing legislation that protects them if they need to seek healthcare and get insurance. He did it on the anniversary of the Pulse nightclub massacre during Pride Month. Like, how tone deaf do you have to... But he just doesn't care.
It's amazing, sort of backwards kind of...
To undo legislation that protects people's rights, whatever people they are, you'd think, well, that's not going to be good PR. Even if you're a dickhead and you don't care, you'd think, well... Because that is people won't like that, so maybe I'll just leave that.
Even our kind of right-wing conservative government has... like been slowly progressing in the right direction when it comes to like gay marriage and gay rights.
Very slowly, but they have reluctantly dragged their feet along, but they don't backtrack on things like that once they've granted them.
Which is not to say they've always had the rights of gay people as their sort of primary interest, or kind of have put those at the forefront.
Not when they need a coalition.
Well, I found a Facebook memory from 3 years ago today, 14th of June 2017. And
I remember it well.
Oh, it's self-righteous. But, I said people who voted Conservative have their reasons, and I can pretend to respect that. But if you continue to support a government that seeks deals with an openly homophobic party, you have to remember what century. You need to remember what century you're living in.
Yes.
Right.
There's not a single word in that I disagree with.
So
that will be in reference to them trying to get a coalition in place with the DUP. I was going to call them the DWP then. No, that's a different group of assholes.
Yeah, the
DUP is...
a group. And for context, let's remember, this wasn't... How far we've come in, sort of 3 years or whatever, but this was at a time when Theresa May was leader of the party.
God, I miss Theresa May.
She was an arsehole as well.
Yeah, look, but I'd take her over Boris.
But let's remember that...
I'd even take David Cameron over Theresa May. Oh my God.
She won the kind of Conservative leadership election after David Cameron stepped down.
Having fucked us royally over Brexit. Cheers, Dave.
So she became the Prime Minister without winning an election.
Yeah.
She didn't have to call an election. We weren't due a general election. But she hubristically decided she was going to call an election anyway, convinced she would comfortably win it.
Basically because lots of people were being very sort of well, you didn't really get voted in, and why should we respect you, and so she's like, fine, I'll fuck you then, I'm going to get voted in, and that did not work out.
She lost the party's majority at the election, and it was very embarrassing, and she then kind of basically... Having done that completely unnecessarily, to save her own skin, cling on to power, she struck a deal with the DUP, gave them 1.5 billion for their support.
But there's no magic money tree, Chris.
No, unless you want to pay off the DUP.
Unless you want to bribe people into going into a coalition with you.
A homophobic party who...
anti-abortion, anti-gay rights, anti-gay marriage. Well, they're a very sort of
anti-Catholic.
Heavily... they're very sort of heavily religious influenced Northern Irish.
Their current leader, Arlene Phillips, kind of basically has undone a lot of the good work done by her dead predecessor, Ian Paisley.
Right.
And refused to step down when she was under investigation for corruption.
Nice.
So that's the sort of... but the Tories will just give these people 1.5 billion. And there was me sort of going...
This is a low. We're not going to see lows the like of this for a long time.
God, look at what these people do. Shouldn't vote for them, and then Boris gets in charge of them, and they get a massive majority again, which is horrendous. But I can only hope. They've done so much terrible things since the Tory party, especially around all this whole crisis. I can only hope that. I mean, we were talking about this today.
It doesn't escape you permanently. Even on the river, we ended up having a political conversation.
But the hope is that kind of people who were willing to overlook all that stuff because the Tories they thought were still in their best interests will have been affected directly by some of this stuff going on, will realise the number of lives that even the Tory government themselves admit could have been saved.
I don't think we've mentioned that on the blog. Their own scientists recently, in the last week or so, have admitted that implementing lockdown 1 week earlier, 7 days earlier, would have probably saved about half of the death toll, which about 30,000 people. So 1 week's difference, 1 week of feet dragging, and hopefully whichever side of the fence you are on, that the only thing I'm worried about is it's a long time to the next election. But judging by how this year, judging by how the world has been going for the last few, but judging by how things have gone since Boris got in and how low his approval ratings are already, that I can't imagine he's going to excel over the next 4 years. But I do hope, there's certain people have been betrayed beyond all recovery. I think people who have lost people directly, I think, will feel that sharply. And particularly, I think it will feel like a betrayal if you voted in the Tories and then it's been proven that their mishandling of this has led to the death of a loved one. Also, you'd have to, it seems fairly across the board that most people who work in the NHS are fairly anti-Tory, which might be why Tories hate the NHS, or it might be why the NHS hates Tories. You can wonder which one of those came first. But if there are people who work within or around the NHS, having seen how this has been handled, will hopefully remember this for a long time. I think there will be a lot of people that do remember this for a long time, but I'm also painfully aware of how prolific the media are at getting their way. Fortunately, the media seem to have actually turned on Boris. So at least what I think we might see is, hang on a minute, we've kind of overdone it, guys. We need to backtrack and moderate and bring things a bit back to reality. The best example, I think, of this particular thing, which actually I think leads to a tweet that you were going to mention, is the classic is the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail is a very well read newspaper. Has a huge readership, although thankfully it's plummeting, as all print newspapers are, but it still does quite well off online stuff. And they have unashamedly been pro-Brexit, pro-Boris, anti-immigrant, pretty anti-NHS actually. Like, they've been sort of bemoaning, like they were against the junior doctors, so were the Express and the Sun actually, when they were striking for better pay. And even referring to them as junior doctors is kind of bullshit. They're just doctors that are not yet consultants in anything, but they'll have done probably 10 or 12 years in the medical field. They're not like little upstarts. But yeah, they've been for years really, really stirring the pot, stirring hatred, stirring anti-immigrant rhetoric. And then during these times, I guess when the whole country, the whole world is in a pressure cooker right now, as individuals, everybody is feeling it. Everybody is like running in their top 5% of I can just about cope, it seems. Like, so it doesn't take much for people to explode. It doesn't take much for the pan to boil over right now. And that's wherever you are on whatever political or just mindset you are. Like, I think everybody has commented on how tough they are finding it and just how heightened and sensitive everything feels. So with that backdrop, all of this hatred that they've been stirring up, and not just the Daily Mail, but the media in general have been stirring up for a while, because they stirred up a lot of that with anti-Jeremy Corbyn stuff in order to make sure that Labour didn't win the last election. But they've basically, while doing that, they've been giving a free pass to people to be racist dickheads. And now the racist dickheads feel like the country is with them. They are the men of the people. They are the ones who are telling it like it is, as we have seen in London over the last few days. Oh lordy, what to say about London? But yeah, the tweet, mention the tweet, because it sort of summarises it
because, as you
so
say,
well.
The Daily Mail is this kind of right-wing shit rag.
Yes.
And like people talk about
worse than that though, because it hides itself as a respectable broadsheet better.
Well,
it doesn't pretend. No, but it doesn't. It doesn't pretend. Like it doesn't sort of put itself down with like the Mirror and the Sun.
Well, that was what I was going to say, because the Sun.
People who read the Mail feel like it's a respectable paper. It isn't.
The Sun is kind of this horrible, gross tabloid, and a lot of people talk about the Sun and why it's awful and why we shouldn't read it and the terrible things that the people behind the Sun have done on that, whether it be phone hacking or kind of the Hillsborough scandal, all these things, and and everyone who says you shouldn't read the Sun is absolutely right. It's terrible kind of shit rag. But
also shouldn't read the Daily Mail.
The Daily Mail and indeed its kind of contemporary, like its kind of rival, the Daily Express, are kind of just as bad and insidious. Just as bad in their own kind of insidious kind of ways, and they just kind of pump out bile and hatred and stoke fear amongst the vulnerable and
the easily led.
Yeah,
and they do it in a persuasive and believable way.
It's worth remembering, I think, as well, that like even now in 2020, like we get a lot of our news online from various sources. I imagine if you're the sort of person that watches a YouTube vlog about what's going on in the world, you probably also get a lot of your news online, if that's how you're engaging with the world. There's no, like, an article online isn't necessarily better than an article in a paper just kind of by default, but what it does mean is we kind of see articles that are being shared around, we see
that maybe aren't so mainstream, and
things from various different sources,
always check the sources though, because obviously it's very easy on the internet to spread bullshit as well.
But if you're seeing things from like reputable places, and if it's being kind of confirmed in 2 or 3 different places, that's probably like, oh okay, something in that. Anyway, but
fact checking services are your friends.
A lot of people still do get the majority of their news from one newspaper. That's how they get their stuff. And if the paper they're reading is a right-wing rag that kind of stokes hate, then that's going to have an effect. And someone's put a tweet up today, guy called James Felton.
So which of this is showing scenes that we've seen coming out of London, so that's the picture backdrop.
Well, the first tweet is the front page of the Mail, and it says unrivaled analysis of a nation in turmoil. It's got a picture of a fight at some of these sort of riots that have been going on.
Interestingly, it's a white man punching. You can't actually see the gentleman's face, but he's got black hair in dreads, so you can assume it's a white man punching a black man, or a fight between a white man and a black man.
Yeah, and it says, "What has become of the tolerant Britain we love?" And this guy James Felton, he's tweeted that, and he's just kind of gone, "Yeah, absolutely, no idea." Alongside then a second picture of just page after page of Daily Express and Mail front covers.
You won't,
no, you won't be able to see.
Yeah, just lots and lots of front covers. Okay, read out some of our titles.
There you go.
There you go.
So it's all things like Britain must ban migrants, slash benefits for EU migrants. The swarm on our streets, foreign workers get 3 and 4 new jobs. Immigrants bring more crime, just stoking this kind of hate.
Referring to them as a swarm on the front page is the stuff of Nazi Germany.
4,000 foreign murderers and rapists we can't throw out. And it's just, creating this picture that the readers of those papers, that's what they're being told every day on the front of their newspapers, and that's what they come to kind of believe, and it's stoking this stuff. For them to turn around and say we're such a tolerant nation, what's happened?
The thing that is really sad as well, because actually quite a lot of these people who believe this and have gone out in London to protest the BLM protests. So that it wasn't actually set up as a protest. What they said they were going to do, Tommy Robinson stirred this up, and as far as I'm concerned, should probably be arrested for inciting a riot. He didn't turn up, interestingly, but he basically said, we need to all be out in force and defend our statues from these thugs who are going to tear down our history, etc., etc. So all these guys, and I hate to say that, but they were predominantly white men. There were a few female faces, there were very few faces of colour, but they were white men going along to defend, the idea being defend the statues so that no harm can come to the statues. Because of this, the BLM protests that were planned decided this is a health and safety issue, we're going to cancel. Just gone, people are going to get hurt, we're not going to do this. So what did all of the white men do? They went, well, let's go anyway, and let's basically take a load of booze with us, stand there, kettle the police. They were at Churchill's statue and at the cenotaph, seen doing Nazi salutes and chanting, England! England! And you're just like, this is the level of knuckle-dragging Neanderthals that you have given the authority to behave this way by telling them that they are right all this time. And I think the Mail has kind of gone, we have actually overdone this. So hopefully we'll see some backtracking, but the damage is done.
The Metro, by the way, described these knuckle-draggers as anti-anti-fascists.
It's Orwellian, isn't it?
Like
the anti-anti-fascists.
The doublespeak, yeah. If you are rioting kind of in opposition of the Black Lives Matter and movement, God, I'm tired. The Black Lives Matter movement, and you're throwing up Zeke Hiles, and you are...
It's not a good look, guys.
I mean, you are the fascists. You are not the anti-anti-fascists.
No.
You are the fascists. That's why you're the anti-fascist.
Yeah.
It's just
and the
insane.
thing is, across the board, like there were instances that people did shitty things. And in America, obviously, the riots have turned crazy. Over in Britain, particularly in Wales, actually, the riots, the protests have been vastly, for the majority of them, peaceful, with no damage. Things will be good. Some of the London ones have kicked off a bit. There have been a small element of people getting violent, getting destructive. But this was something else. And all of the people who are very, very vocally condemning the Black Lives Matter marches, firstly for social distancing, which for the large part was observed as much as possible. And then secondly for being destructive and destroying our history and all of that stuff. Those people have been very quiet on social media when we are seeing photos of people doing Nazi salutes in front of the cenotaph, which is so disrespectful, pissing on a memorial to a murdered policeman.
These are the guys who claim they want to defend.
They're defending the police,
and
throwing things at the police, fighting with the police, brawling with each other. But there's some bizarre footage coming out of it of two groups of people fighting over who is most racist.
I had. I was going to say, because I was very uncomfortable about the VE Day celebrations, where it seemed like people weren't social distancing at street parties and things, and we talked about that. Also uncomfortable about people flooding the beaches in England when they
We've said on here many times that we've been uncomfortable about it. And it was our reason for not going to the Black Lives Matter
But when it came to that,
march,
we largely...
even though we were very passionate about it.
Yeah, so when it came to the Black Lives Matter movement, obviously there's a bit of you that is still, those concerns don't go away, but you hold your tongue about that because you realise that the Black Lives Matter movement is too important, and it's worth and also because the organisers of all these events seem, from what we can tell, to have been really responsible, handing out masks and water to people, trying to maintain social distancing.
They've had to be absolutely above board and so careful because because of racism. There's already people looking for reasons
for an excuse to kick off.
Hate
so they have to kind of be seen to be
so they need to be whiter than white. But how unfortunate is that as a term? But that is they've had to be so careful. And you can't control, once you get loads of people all together, particularly when things are so heightened, things do kick off. But actually, they've, across the board, been trying their best to keep it as peaceful as possible. And largely, they have been. Even when things kicked off in Bristol and that statue was torn down, there wasn't violence against people. That was a very poignant symbol of what the movement stands for, and I'm wholeheartedly behind it. Actually, the more I think about it, the more I'm behind it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's bizarre that.
But the thing is, now that having happened and everything, like I say, we were very vocal about the VE Day celebrations and the thing, but we understood the importance of the Black Lives Matter thing and why people were going out, kind of irrespective of the risks and things. But why they were trying their best to minimise those risks. But the things that are going on at the moment, even if you are sincerely out there because you are just a sincere defender of statues and you're not doing it for racist motives, I'm dubious, but even if you just really, really care about these statues, right, that's not a good enough reason to kind of break lockdown and everything. Statues are not as important as Black lives.
No. But people are acting like they are.
That should go without saying. But yeah, the behaviour suggests otherwise.
And the thing that I'm finding distasteful about it all is how quiet people have got on social media. The thing is, the fact that people were very, very vocal against these marches, saying, "Oh, there's a pandemic on," all true, fair enough, and it's a very easy excuse to be anti it. They've gone very quiet. So essentially, really, the thing that you have a problem with is Black Lives Matter marches. It's not the COVID concerns, because if it was, you'd be as fervently saying, this is awful. There are people who are saying both are awful and both sides shouldn't be doing this right now, and that's a fair and valid viewpoint.
It's at least consistent.
But there's lots of people who were just a week ago, and a week is a long time at the moment, but just a week ago in threads that I was in, being very angry and vocal, and this is not on, all using the social distancing as the basis of their arguments. They've all gone quiet. And then basically you're proving that we have a problem with racism in this country. We are the only country in the world that have had people marching against the Black Lives Matter marches. That tells you that we have a problem with Black lives. Even in the US, people have known better than to just go okay, I'm just going to wait this out.
It's terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know we're kind of running long again, but I did want to talk about one more related story.
Well, tomorrow's tomorrow's going to be a fun one. So
yes,
get
all the politics out.
Get the politics done.
Yes, good point. So
get Brexit done.
There's a woman from North Wales called a black woman, which I say because it becomes relevant. Margaret Ogunbanwo, and she goes on her daily exercise every day and takes photos of her walk and things. And she posted on Facebook, it's either yesterday or today, basically saying, "Oh, normally I take photos of my walk, but I've come home today and see this on the outside of my house." And someone has painted a swastika on her garage door. Now that is obviously horrible and really depressing. And I should say,
you say this was North Wales.
Yes, and this woman, not that is acceptable at any time to anyone, but she is the furthest thing from some kind of fantasy stereotype that right-wing nutters have in their minds.
Right.
Of she's not an immigrant who's come over here and stealing jobs. She's from a family that's lived here.
Or cheating benefits and all of that bullshit.
Her family speak Welsh. They run a cafe that serves the local community. They are part of that community.
Yeah, picture perfect people if they had a different skin colour.
Yes.
Basically, by the far right standards. Obviously, I don't think that.
Yes, to be clear, not our view, the views of awful people. Awful men with male pattern baldness. That's something that my friend...
Are you correlating the ability to grow hair and the anger of the far right?
I'm not, because I'm aware there's a lot of that in your family.
Yeah.
But it is something that my friend Deleri pointed out on Twitter, that why have they all got male pattern? There's a lot of just pictures of very angry men with receding hairlines.
Yeah, I don't know.
But so...
I'll
anyway,
have you know that all of the men in my family are stand-up men.
Yes.
They're lovely people.
I've met several of them, and not a racist amongst them. There you go.
Met all of the men in my family.
Have you?
Oh no, you haven't met one of my uncles.
Distant one. Okay.
I've got cousins that you haven't met, but mine. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway.
All stand-up guys. For what my opinion? I mean, I don't know if they care for my opinion. I'm more worried about impressing them, because I don't want them to like me.
Maybe
maybe
don't call them racists with male pattern baldness.
Good note. But anyway, so it's depressing.
I don't think any of the men in my family watch this.
So it's very no, I don't blame them. It's very miserable and depressing that people are putting these swastikas on people's garage doors. But the positive thing is, her community has kind of rallied round.
Okay, that's nice.
With a lot of support and things, and also she runs a company out of her cafe called Maggie's Exotic Foods, where you can kind of order sauces and spices and things and kind of kits to make Caribbean food at home.
Oh, lovely.
So
I'd be up for that.
Yes. So we will...
North Wales, though, bloody hell.
Well, you can order it, though.
Yes. Order it online?
Yes.
I thought it was just out of the cafe.
We will put that link in the blurb to this, so if you want to do that, I'll be having a look and probably picking something up.
She's going to be overwhelmed with support, which I hope
we're going to have some nice Caribbean food at some point coming up. And, if you have the money and if you like to cook, then that's a thing that is well worth supporting, I think, and let's give that company a boost.
And it sends a nice message, doesn't it? Of no, hang on, we don't tolerate people being hateful.
Exactly.
Okay, one person is a dickhead, but hundreds of us can be really nice. And I think that's the way we've got to go through this. You can't fight hate with hate. You can't. Violence breeds violence, hate breeds hate. You kind of have to go, okay, well, instead of hating on that person, I'm going to love on this one.
Yeah.
And just support each other. And it just, it's so ready to explode with everybody at all times at the moment, that just find your little days of respite where you can. Today was absolutely a godsend, and I think will see me through another month or so of, but the way the news is going, I'll be doing well if I get to Wednesday without another global crisis. But yeah, bonkers right now, so just look after yourselves, and we'll see you tomorrow for a fun one.
Look after
yourselves. Birthday.
Order from Maggie's Exotic Foods.
Don't read the Daily Mail.
We're going to have a nice fun one tomorrow. We're going to cut out all the politics and just have a nice birthday vlog.
Yeah. And then I'm going to get drunk.
Yay.
Alright, bye guys. Like and subscribe. We will see you tomorrow, and promise that will be a totally fun, happy one. Yeah. Like and subscribe, there's no shame in it.
No shame in it.
Not a bit.
Mother Hubbards.
Mother Hubbards.
Yeah.